Another beautiful spring day here on the cliff edge, but I can see little knots of people making their way up and down the promenade. Very soon, if it all goes to plan, we will be overwhelmed by the annual rush of holiday makers, and we will have to wait till the autumn before the beach quietens down again. Well, let's go inside and have a cup of tea before the rush starts. Hello, I'm Peter John Cooper. Yes, it's been difficult running an hotel destination, especially over the last year or so. And now everyone is clamouring for holidays. But one of the universal issues that all tourist chiefs face seems to be a dichotomy between making a living and keeping your hotel destination exclusive. Today's story is called Book Now Before It's Spoilt Forever.
3, 2, 1.
When was the last time you got back from a holiday on Mars and said, "Never again. I should have taken more notice of TripAdvisor. 1 star is only just up from an asteroid." I mean, Mars used to be the hot ticket, the place to go, the hip and happening place in the solar system when it was first opened up to Earthsiders. We all wanted to be seen there, lounging by the canals, to see it before it was spoilt by tourism. There were some great sights. Olympus Mons rearing its frosted crest against the indigo sky. That was before they put in ski lifts and built KFCs on the flanks. The Gale Crater, with its uninterrupted views for 96 miles from rim to rim, before they built rows of hotel domes around the edge like a nasty outbreak of genital warts. And the canals flowing deep and green and wide across the red deserts, before the mining waste and chocolate brown slurry outflow. Bloody Martians, if they want tourists, they should look after their planet more. The discerning visitor from Earth does not want to be reminded of their home planet while they're paying top dollar for the red experience. And what happened to the welcome you used to get at the spaceport? Originally all part of the experience, the groups of dancers. Yes, cute little green men jingling their strange assortment of green parts to their strange gonging music, and then hanging garlands of moss and algae around your neck. I mean, the moss had an unpleasant sliminess to it, and the smell of the algae. And I say little green men as a generic. God knows if there was such a thing as a little green woman, and how on earth you would tell them apart if there were. Never mind, we knew the whole thing was authentic, and it seemed to please the little green creatures who were performing them welcome. Well, nothing like that now. The streams of tourists are met by superficial standardised jiggle, with the interesting bits covered by Gucci aprons and Prada boiler suits. The garlands are no more than cheap plastic representations. I suppose the only bit of authenticity is the smell. The majority of the Martians don't seem to be as excited as they once were by us tourists, and seem to sit or lounge around the spaceport as if they own the place. I mean, good God, you have to work to get your TripAdvisor stars. Since the mining companies found those huge natural deposits of cocoa below the southern ice caps, they seem to exist solely on chocolate-based confectionery that they consume in those little cafes that are off limits to tourists. What do they call them? Mars bars? Getting above themselves, that's what I think. No, Mars is no longer what it once was as a destination. So those of us who write about such things have been exploring the less visited parts of the solar system. One tip though, if you're tempted by those glossy brochures advertising a 6-month tour around the outer reaches of the Kuiper Belt and the minor planets, don't bother. Take it from me, there's only one word to describe them: dismal. Nothing but frozen wildernesses. I mean, once you've seen one methane lake or suffered one carbon dioxide snowstorm, then you've seen the lot. And given that they're plunged in darkness for billions of years at a time, the nightlife is as dreary as any part of Yeovil on a wet Saturday. And we find out it's all owned by Martians anyway. What in God's name are those little green buggers doing out there? No, I wanted a planet with a bit of pizzazz, a bit of get up and go, without having yet been overwhelmed by overweight and over there Earthies, and somewhere not owned by little jiggling Martians. That's why I've just got back from Venus. Now, I'm not saying that it's perfect. Still a bit primitive, but definitely an air of exclusivity where you can be above the rat race. In fact, you are literally above the rat race, for the floating hotels of Venus are great multicoloured blimps hanging in the dense carbon dioxide atmosphere far above the surface, where the only wildlife is the Venusian brass rat, the only creature that can survive down there in the torrid heat. But it does mean that it's pleasantly warm all year round up here in the clouds. But when I say torrid, what I mean to say that it's hot enough to melt lead. And I mean that literally. I mean it's literally hot enough to melt lead. So no trips to the surface to cover a rat here. The scientists say it's caused by the sort of runaway greenhouse effect that we're busy generating here on Earth. But as with everything Earthside, we are centuries behind these pacemakers. I suppose it does get a tad uncomfortable when the air conditioning fails, which it does from time to time, and a refreshing cold shower is scaldingly hot. But it's all part of the authenticity you crave. The great plus is that the blimp hotels are all owned and run by Earthsiders, So we have the best of both worlds. Reasonably clean towels, as well as the delicious hot Venusian atmosphere. Oh, and proper Earth food. I mean, some of the planets these days serve up any sort of muck and call it authentic. But authentic slime is still just slime. These great Venusian hotel ships are like enormous clouds up to 5 miles across, with masses of dining experiences, shopping malls, so plenty of room to avoid that awful family from Swindon with the kids who should have been put down at birth. I mean, should have been put down for a secure school on Saturn, so that they would not be running up and down the aisles of the shuttle demanding space cola as I'm trying to write this. God, if they're going to be the visitors of the future, then this exclusivity isn't going to last for long. Them or the Martians. You can bet sooner or later some sentient being is going to ruin it. So book now for Venus before it's spoilt forever. Well, thank you for listening to this overheated podcast. Perhaps you deserve a nice long cold drink before you listen to one of the other tales. There's plenty more on the way, so why not visit the podcast site and click on the follow button. Doesn't make a vast difference cosmically, but it does make me feel